As we all know, exams are a crucial part of assessing students' knowledge and understanding of a subject. However, poorly written or unclear exam questions can lead to confusion, frustration, and even lower grades for students. That's why it's important for teachers and instructors to develop the skill of typing exam questions that are clear, concise, and easy to understand. In this presentation, I will share with you some tips and strategies for typing effective exam questions that will help your students succeed. We'll cover everything from choosing the right font and formatting to using question templates, writing effective questions, and proofreading and editing your work. By the end of this presentation, you will have the tools and knowledge you need to create high-quality exam questions that will help your students demonstrate their knowledge and achieve their academic goals. By the end of this presentation, you will have the tools and knowledge you need to create high-quality exam questions that will help your students demonstrate their knowledge and achieve their academic goals. Now let us discuss some important tools and knowledge you need to create high-quality exam questions. 1. Choosing a font and formatting. The font and formatting you choose for your exam questions can have a big impact on how well your students are able to read and understand them. Here are some tips for choosing the right font and formatting for your exam questions. 1. Choose a legible font. When it comes to choosing a font for your exam questions, it's best to stick with something simple and easy to read. Avoid decorative or cursive fonts that can be difficult to read, especially for students who may have visual impairments. A few good options for exam questions include Times New Roman, Arial, and Calibri. 2. Use a reasonable font size. The font size you choose for your exam question should be large enough to be legible but not so large that it takes up too much space on the page. A font size of 10 or 12 is usually a good choice for most exams. 3. Use bold or italic text sparingly. Bold or italic text can be helpful for emphasizing important words or phrases in your exam questions, but use them sparingly. Overusing bold or italic text can make your questions look cluttered and difficult to read. 4. Use clear formatting. When formatting your exam questions, use a clear and consistent style for headings, subheadings, and other text elements. This will help your students quickly identify different sections of the exam and understand what is being asked of them. By following these tips, you can ensure that your exam questions are easy to read and understand, which will help your students focus on the content of the questions and perform their best on the exam. Question templates can be a helpful tool for creating consistent and effective exam questions quickly and efficiently. Here are some tips for using question templates effectively. Start with a basic template. Begin by creating a basic template for each type of exam question you will be using. For example, multiple choice, true/false, short answer, essay. This template should include all the necessary components of the question, for example, STEM, options, instructions, as well as any formatting or style guidelines you want to follow. 2. Modify the template as needed. Once you have a basic template in place, you can modify it as needed for different subjects or topics. For example, you may need to adjust the STEM or options for a multiple-choice question to reflect different content or concepts. 3. Use existing templates. You don't have to create all your question templates from scratch. Many textbooks and online resources provide pre-made templates for different types of exam questions. You can use these templates as a starting point and modify them to fit your specific needs. 4. Be consistent. The key to using question templates effectively is to be consistent in their use. Make sure you are using the same formatting and style guidelines for all your exam questions, and stick to your templates as closely as possible. This will help your students know what to expect and focus on the content of the questions rather than trying to decipher different formatting or style variations. By using question templates effectively, you can save time and ensure consistency in your exam questions, which will help your students better prepare and perform on the exam. Another tool is writing effective questions. Writing effective exam questions requires more than just typing out a sentence or two. Here are some tips for crafting effective questions that will accurately assess your students' knowledge and understanding. 1. Use clear and concise language. Your exam question should be written in clear and concise language that is easy for your students to understand. Avoid using technical jargon or overly complicated phrasing, and make sure your questions are grammatically correct. 2. Avoid biased or leading questions. Your exam question should be neutral and unbiased, without any implicit or explicit bias towards a particular answer or viewpoint. Avoid using leading or suggestive language that may influence your students' responses. 3. Provide clear instructions. In addition to the question itself, make sure you provide clear instructions for how your students should respond. For example, select the best answer, provide a short answer, write an essay. This will help your students understand what is expected of them and avoid confusion. 4. Include relevant context. Whenever possible, include relevant context or background information that will help your students understand the question and the concepts being assessed. This can be particularly important for essay or short answer questions. 5. Use a variety of question types. To accurately assess your students' knowledge and understanding, it's important to use a variety of question types. For example, multiple choice, true/false, short answer, essay. Each question type has its own strengths and weaknesses, so using a variety of types can help ensure a more comprehensive assessment. By following these tips, you can craft effective exam questions that accurately assess your students' knowledge and understanding, while avoiding biases and confusion. The final tool is proofreading, and editing your exam questions is an essential step to ensure that they are error-free and accurately assess your students' knowledge and understanding. Here are some tips for proofreading and editing your exam questions. 1. Check for spelling and grammar errors. Spelling and grammar errors can undermine the credibility of your exam questions and make them more difficult for your students to understand. Use the spelling and grammar checker to catch any errors, but also review your questions manually to catch any errors that might be missed by automated tools. 2. Ensure clarity and consistency. Review your exam questions to ensure that they are clear and concise, and that they use consistent language and formatting. If you notice any areas where your questions are unclear or inconsistent, revise them accordingly. 3. Check for bias. As mentioned earlier, it's important to avoid bias in your exam questions. Review your questions to ensure that they are neutral and unbiased, and that they do not contain any implicit or explicit biases. 4. Ask for feedback. Consider asking a colleague or fellow instructor to review your exam questions and provide feedback. This can help catch errors or areas of confusion that you may have missed, and can provide valuable insights into how well your questions assess the intended learning outcomes. By proofreading and editing your exam questions carefully, you can ensure that they accurately assess your students' knowledge and understanding, and that they are free from errors and biases. This will help your students perform their best on the exam and provide a fair and comprehensive assessment of their learning. Thank you for watching. Please let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments section of this YouTube page, and subscribe to get my channel to get notified when I upload new content.